Really excited, man. Can't wait to get going. But any questions?
Been impressed with Jared and just his ownership of kind of what you want to do on offense. We talked to him earlier in the week, and he was like, just bring it on. Whatever they need, I want as much as I can, as they'll give me. Just how much of that part of it have you been impressed with, and how much easier has that made your job in this transition?
It's made it a lot easier. It's been awesome. The dialogue we've had, we call it RCE, recognize, communicate, and execute. And, man, we're just talking all the time. And, because we have to get to know each other. Every day we learn about each other. And he's just been awesome. Ideas, what I'm thinking, film, we're talking on the phone. It's been awesome. And that's the way, the coordinator and the quarterback should be.
You spent all summer going against Kelvin Sheppard. Can you just share your impressions of him as a play caller and his defense, kind of what to expect?
I'm just thoroughly impressed. I'm glad we don't have to go against those guys anymore. I think they do an unbelievable job. They made it tough for us. So, and it'll prepare us for the upcoming games. So, I think those guys are going to be awesome.
We spoke to John Morton this summer, and he was just saying that you freaking nuts with your preparation and just getting engaged in game mode. How have you brought that into this offensive coordinator role, just that hard work? And how does that alleviate any pressure you may feel going into the season?
Don't feel pressure. I mean, this is my 28th year. Every coach works their butt off. I've just been taught a certain way, and it's all I know. And I love doing this, and I wouldn't know what else I would do, so I just love it. It's not about me. It's about the players, man. But I just love what I do. That's all I know. So.
I know we've talked about the aggressiveness and trick plays and going for it on fourth down in the past, but I'm curious just what was your definition of aggressiveness, aggressive play calling before you started working with Dan Campbell, and has that evolved at all?
No, I mean, we're going to continue to do those things. I've have to learn, how they want to do certain things in certain situations. So that's not going to change. I mean, I like it. I mean, if it feels good, let's do it. I mean, like I said, I've said this before, we're going to do whatever it takes to win the game.
What was your first impression, reaction when you found out Micah got traded to the Packers, and what challenges now does that present now that you're on?
He's a heck of a player. And we'll have to be aware of him and where he's at. And we'll find out, how much he's going to play. We'll have certain things for him. I'm really just concentrating on our guys. And it's all about us right now, making sure the details, the fundamentals, or everything are correct, because it's a good defense.
A question about developing quarterbacks. How challenging is it to develop quarterbacks when you need to get your QB1 and QB2 reps? And do you think the emergency quarterback rule is still a good thing, or do you think?
No, I think it's a good thing. I mean, you like to have three. I mean, we saw what happens, when you don't. But that's very important. I think Kyle's going to do an unbelievable job. I mean, you want your backups or your third to be really smart because they don't get a lot of reps. You like to have a veteran, and it just totally helps with at ease. You're at ease if if something happens, and he can just step in and go, and you don't have to change much.
So does that also make it challenging? You're not in this situation, but when you have a young quarterback to develop them because of that?
Yeah, I would agree. No doubt.
John, every defensive coordinator wants to be able to get away with rushing four. The Packers probably did that better than anybody last year. Just a lot of rush four, drop seven. As an offensive coordinator, what are the challenges that presents when a defense can take that approach?
Yeah, we got two pretty good tackles. So I'm not as much as concerned about that. I mean, we got some great players here. But, Parsons and Gary, they're really good. So, we'll have plans, but our two tackles are pretty damn good.
I think maybe more from the drop seven part of it when the team can
drop
seven.
They're a zone type of defense.
Yeah.
So we have the game plan to set up to do whatever it takes.
John, you mentioned year 28 for you, you don't feel pressure anymore.
Yeah.
Was there a time in your coaching career where you felt pressure, and when did that change for you, if so?
Well, the first time being a coordinator, that was a little bit of pressure. And being in New York, that's a little bit of pressure. But I feel very confident. I mean, the coaches here are unbelievable. We're doing this together. We got great players. I feel really good where I'm at right now.
What is it about the booth, being up in the booth, that you like and prefer?
Well, I've been up there my whole career. So I've always been in direct contact with the play caller, the head coach. All the head coaches I've been around have been the play caller. So I've helped them out a lot. I have certain things that I've always done up there as far as tendencies and things. And it's just, you take the chaos out of it, and it's very calm up there. I can see everything, and it's very easy to call plays up there.
Jared mentioned that the first few weeks is kind of a feeling out process, find the identity.
Yeah.
And you'd like to have the offense, fire on all cylinders the first week, but you said that's hard. What's your expectation, and how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, it's like I said, we're going to continue to do what they've been doing. So coming off the ball and running, it all starts up front. That's what we're going to do. And then we'll take advantage of however they're going to play us. And I don't feel it like that, but, it's being a new coordinator, being new here, that getting to know each other and how things work. I think we've had so many reps. Dan has done an unbelievable job in training camp, getting us ready, to play this game. And we've had a ton of reps going against, our defense, which is a little bit different than this defense. So I feel very confident where we're at.
What have you thought of Tate and Christian?
Say that again?
What have you thought of Tate and Christian, how they've developed through camp? Obviously going to play huge roles. Just curious what you expect from them.
Again, just going against our defense with all the different things that they do, it's been beneficial for those guys because it's been hard. And seeing these different type of looks now, Green Bay does an unbelievable job up front too, and with all their packages that they have. So I think we're going to be great because we're preparing these guys. We're in practice. We're giving them the hardest looks. So when the game happens, it's a little bit easier.
Coach, going back to you in the booth, how much does it help with David Shaw being on the sideline? I assume he'll remain down there for the season, but just having someone so well be down there.
Yeah. No, it helps out a lot because if you don't have anybody down there that you can trust, then I probably would go down there. Like I said, our coaches are awesome, so, Dan and David Shaw and all of our coaches, it's been great, the communication. We've learned each other in the preseason, which was really good. So I think it's awesome to have him down there. He's done it. He's been the head coach. He's just another pair of eyes that can help Jared during the game and Dan. So I love it.
Time for a couple more guys. I think Shep was up here. He talked about the defense hearing the outside narratives, obviously with the coordinator change. Possibly your guys may have heard some of the same things.
Say it again.
When Shep was up here, he was talking about the defense hearing the outside narratives with possibly with the coordinator change. Possibly you guys may have heard the same thing with your side of the ball.
Yeah.
How do you balance guys using that outside narrative here, using that for fuel versus staying balanced, focus on the task ahead?
I don't pay any mind. I don't listen to the media. Don't get me wrong. I don't read articles. I was taught early on, don't read things. I don't. I'm not on social media or anything like that. I don't hear that stuff. I just concentrate on what I got to do. That's the most important thing, is to get these guys ready. You know what I mean? So I don't buy into any of that.
Their defense really turned a corner last year when Jeff Hafley came in as defensive coordinator. Yeah. When you were digging into the tape, what stood out to you schematically that they do well?
They got some different looks. It's a zone type of defense. I've gone against this defense multiple times. It's all 11 eyes on the quarterback. They want to see everything and, get you to third down and long. So they do an unbelievable job. They really got good players. They're disciplined in what they do. They surround to the ball. It's all going to be about the turnover, taking care of the ball in this game. We have to take care of the ball and run the ball, and that opens up other things.
John, Tim Patrick was such an important piece to this offense last year, really filled a hole. Obviously, the team felt comfortable going in a different direction. What is it about the Khalif Raymond, maybe Isaac Tesla combination as that number 3 receiver? What gives you confidence in those guys based on what you saw in camp?
Yeah, I think Tesla did a great job in training camp, here in practice, and he made plays. He got better every single day, carried over to the game. We thought he did an unbelievable job. He's a smart kid. He's tough. There's some good things that he can do that's going to help us this year. So, that he took advantage of the opportunity when Tim was out. Tim will be missed. I was around Tim in Denver. I love him. He's an unbelievable teammate, and I wish him the best.
John, going back to David. Going back to David for a second, when he's down there on the sidelines, what in particular is he looking for or relaying to you that makes your job easier up in the booth?
He's just another pair of eyes at the quarterback, just looking at the quarterback, any ideas, and he's, during in between series, he's over there with the quarterback. They relay it to me, things that he is saying. So that's kind of how that goes. But all the coaches are doing that.
You mentioned obviously the running game being important, but right before David got injured, I guess in the split between rush attempts for Jameer and David were practically equal. Do you envision the workload distribution kind of being similar this year?
We'll see.
Good. How's it going?
Excited?
Absolutely.
Can you put that into context, though? I mean, just this is an opportunity you've pushed for and you've fought for, and obviously you had preseason to kind of get ready for it. But this is week one as a coordinator for you. Like, what is your excitement level, and I guess how do you maintain that levelness?
Well, I take myself out of that equation. I'm excited for the players and the opportunity that these guys have to go out. You hear all these different narratives and all that stuff, and that's fine and dandy. But I know when we sat in that room this morning, when we conveyed on Monday the things that those guys talked about, the standard that we've set, coaches, players, coaches, and the level that these guys expect to play this year. So that's what I'm excited for. I'm a very selfless person. I'm not in this to this is my first game. This is their first game to go out and display what we're going to look like and what's to come in the 2025-2026 season.
You've gone against J-Mo, in practice all the time. Having a player like that, obviously, you have to pay attention to, especially on the back end. What does Matthew Golden bring to their offense? I know you probably didn't see him a ton on tape, but just when you look at the college tape, just adding a guy to that offense with that kind of speed, like a J-Mo type speed, just the challenge of that.
Yeah, it's crazy how this unfolded because I actually did look at him. Dan had me evaluate a handful of offensive guys this offseason during the draft process, and he was one of the guys on the list. It's a unique thing we do here, and just another part of coaching development, just expanding your horizon beyond your position, beyond your side of the ball, wherever that may deem he think you're ready for. So he fell on my list. So I've seen this player. He's a very electric player. We got T-Choice here that came from Texas that was with him there. And it's a no-brainer. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. I believe he was the fastest guy this year coming out. And he's a very explosive player. He's a big component of their offense. I already know that without seeing a clip because of the dynamic that he provides. And then you got that monster in number 8 in the backfield. So whenever you got somebody that could take the top off and you have one of the top 5 rushing attacks in ball last year, that presents a challenge in itself. But we do have the luxury here of practicing against a very similar offense, having J-Mo and the double-headed monster that we have to see all camp. So it's prepared us. But we understand the challenge at hand. But number one, first and foremost, it starts with stopping the run and Josh Jacobs.
From a play calling standpoint, one of your first big tests is against LaFleur, who's highly respected across the league. I guess, how do you prepare for the chess match that'll take place on the field on Sunday?
Just not getting caught up in it's me versus LaFleur. It's us versus the Packers. And making sure we go in, we understand the plan, and we don't deviate from it, no matter how the game goes. That's what me and Dan talked through last night. We could start out shedding him out 2, 3 and outs in a row. or they could come out and score on the first play of the game. That can't change or alter the plan that we've set in place, the plan that I've told the players that we have, and it can't dictate our emotions of the game. We have to stay very even keeled throughout this whole process, never too high, never too low. And I do have the utmost respect for Coach LaFleur. Obviously, I haven't been the coordinator, but I've been watching across the sidelines now for a few years. And he's always had a top offense, points, rushing, passing. It's a high prolific offense. It's a system that's generated from that whole McVay, LaFleur, KO up in Minnesota. It's all similar. And all these guys are very, very, very high thinkers. They adjust on the run, and I have to be ready to counter everything he's ready to throw at us.
Yep, sorry. Kelvin, it'll be Tyleik Williams' first game. After the game's over and you review the film, what are you expecting to see from the first round pick?
I'm expecting to see a violent, physical, big man strike and knock people back. We know his playmaking ability, but I just keep reminding him, D tackles don't necessarily make plays that show up on the stat sheet. And you have to remind him of that because he was a dominant player at Ohio State, and he's used to racking up stats on the stat sheet. Just understanding what we need from him, and that's to be who he is within our system and what we're asking him to do. But first and foremost, if you play on our defensive line, we expect you to knock people back violently, be able to sit down against double teams, hold in there thick and firm, and he showed that all camp. I'm very excited for that player and to see him out there in Lambeau.
Follow up on what Nolan had asked about, sort of that in-game calling plays. I know you don't want to make it about you, but you've hit on this a little bit before. Can you just explain a little bit more how everything you did in camp, calling situationally stuff, even the game sort of sets you up, to feel comfortable dialing up those plays?
Absolutely, because I know the big question is my first game calling it, but that's not how I'm thinking or preparing for this. I've been calling defenses for the last 6 weeks, and more importantly, for the last 2 years on my own in my mind. The day before the game, if AG got sick the night before, how would I see myself calling these games? So it's the first time others are going to see me call games, call plays, and things like that. But as far as the defensive players and myself, I'm going into this deal. I know the D&Ds, I know the plan, I know what we've said we're going to do here, I know what we said we're going to do there, and not deviate from it, no matter what. It's the same thing we do in call-it periods in practice. I go against one of the most high prolific offenses every single day for the last 6 weeks, and I've had that task at hand, and Dan's put me in game situations already, and that's just a credit to him. Like, I'm going in week one, guys, I'm not BSing you at all. I'm not nervous at all. I'm very anxious, but I'm not nervous. It's a big difference. Someone is nervous, you're not prepared. We are prepared, and we will be prepared. And then we'll let the chips fall where they may on Sunday.
D&Ds.
Down distances.
I want to ask specifically, you talked about staying even keeled, but you specifically, how much did your playing career help you with that? Because you're going to face questions all the time, obviously, when you come in and after Aaron Glenn and what this team did last year, but you as a player, how did that help you prepare for this role as well? You've been coaching for a while, but did that help you at all?
Oh, absolutely. The highs and lows of my career, and I open the floor and I explain that to all the players when we had a 90-man roster here back in camp. And that's why I feel like I'm able to adapt and touch so many guys, because I've been that higher draft pick that went in and started my rookie year. I've been that guy that got traded. I've been that guy that got cut. I've been that guy that had to go back and get it out the mud and resurface yourself. So I've seen it from every aspect in this deal. And then being right there with AG these last couple of years, I've also seen it. I've seen people calling for his job years ago to calling him one of the best coordinators in the league. So that, to me, is why you can never get too high or too low, because in this business that we're in, things happen overnight and things change drastically week to week. So you never get too high or too low, and that's where I get kind of that motto from, is dating back to my playing days.
Hey, Shep, from your perspective, where is Terrion a different player entering year two compared to entering year one? I know you don't want to heap too much praise on him, but just where have you seen his growth the most entering year two?
I would say from the mental standpoint, he's always had the physical gifts and tools, but it's the mental standpoint. Him doing the extra meetings with Deshae and myself, wanting to understand the game of football, not just play it. Those are two different things. And being able to play with anticipation. When you're out there on those islands, you know your talent can only take you so far because the guy you're matched up against is just as talented as you. You have to be able to play with anticipations, understand the stems of receivers, what routes they run off certain stems, certain formations and things like that. And that's where I've seen the growth with him. And Deshae has done an unbelievable job with that player. Just kind of find that fine line because he does have this kind of kid personality and kind of understanding how to wire his mind. And when you're out there on that, look, man, you got to lock in here. We understand you're going to talk trash, you're going to joke around, but there's a time and place for it and knowing when to lock in. And I've seen that from him in these past 6 months.
Some of these.
What has DJ Reed meant for Terrion since he's been here?
Not just Terrion, he's meant everything to our defense. He's been a plug-and-play guy, not only on the field, but in the classroom, in the locker room. DJ Reed, I can't say enough about him. I know that Hutch and Anzo was voted captains, but he would have easily been a guy that would have earned the right to wear that patch. Everything he does is by his work. All you have to do is watch him. Watch how his attentiveness in meetings. He asked me the most questions of anybody. Like sometimes he'll stop the tape and Shep, I messed up right there. I'm like, damn, you telling on yourself? But just his level of accountability, the level of trust, not only myself, but this unit has in him. And those guys follow him. So it's been very good having DJ here.
If you have some of these.
Most about this group and their potential as you get ready to go here?
As far as our defense, just the togetherness that we have right now. Understanding it's going to be ups and downs. Like Hutch spoke the other day. I'm not going to go into the super details about it, but essentially he said we're going to go through ups and downs. But the bond that we've built, not only over the years, because we just brought in DJ Reed, you kind of pick and pride these pieces you bring in year to year, and all these guys fit, and we've meshed well, and it's more of a brotherhood, and it's a family. We're not friends. I tell them, we're not friends here, we're family. You're going to go through things together, and we're still going to be family after. Friends, you kind of separate, and that is what it is. We're a family here, and that's what you're going to see displayed on the field is a family out there fighting together down in and down out.
Do you have some of these guys on the...
Rachel and then Justin, last two.
Danny, go before me.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Coach, where do you see Avonte Maddox making the biggest impact on defense coming into this one?
Avonte Maddox provides us a huge depth piece that we've been thriving for 2 years here. He's kind of a chess piece that you could play at multiple spots, very similar to Brian Branch. So hopefully we're not talking about that this year, Danny, but you know, if somebody, I always say, got to tie their shoes or forget their mouthpiece in the locker room, you know, it's a guy that you could kind of plug and play at multiple spots, and I have 100% trust in that player. That's another guy, just like DJ Reed, that we've added, and I mean, you're talking about a perfect fit to the culture, everything. He embodies being selfless. He's willing to go play corner, safety, nickel, linebacker, and he knows what to do at all these spots. So he's going to be critical throughout the whole portion of this season and the duration of our success this season.
When it comes to, Avonte, DJ, you've added a lot of age to that room as well. How does that help? Do you lean on that at all? Even though they're vets, they've had very different NFL experiences all coming together for your ownership here.
Absolutely, because you look before DJ Avonte got added, it was really a bunch of kids back there, and for all it's worth, yeah, they're all pro players, but I'm telling y'all right now, trying to coach these players day to day, you never know what you're going to get sometimes. But that's our job, meeting them halfway. And now having players there with them, because that's when the message is really sent. You say what you want. As a coach, yeah, they respect us, but a lot of it kind of falls on deaf ears sometimes when you're preaching the same thing over and over. But when they're hearing it from their peers, and it's kind of, they're the coach through the player kind of deal, and then they get that through them, it kind of hits a little different. So having those two vets that understand what we're looking for, what I'm looking for, and kind of have them convey the message as well, kind of doubles down on everything that we're saying.
I want to dip back to something from last year when we talked about Malcolm. You said, you viewed him as a starter even if he wasn't a starter, and you found a role for him in situations. You've got guys on this roster, Rock, Avonte, Nowaski, Grant, that showed things that they can do on this football field all through camp. So how much are you in your head crafting sub packages to find room for these guys on Sunday?
Yep, and that's a credit to our front office. the depth that they do, because now kind of that player, we know we have Malcolm out for the first couple weeks here, but now a player that's been plug and play kind of in that fourth LB spot has been Zach Cunningham. To me, this is a starter in this league. I have no idea what he did before he got here or why he wasn't starting or playing credible snaps the last 2 years, but this player, what he's shown on our field, he's a starting caliber linebacker in this league. And again, credit to our front office, and it's not trying to force these guys in the game. If we see in the game plan there's a role for you, we'll plug and play you in that role, but we'll never force anybody on the field. It's just a credit that we're able to have that type of depth going into the season, knowing what we endured last year as far as injuries are concerned. Having those depth pieces there to where you're not changing your game plan. The game plan can stay the course, and these guys plug and play in those different spots that we have them in.
Okay, here we go. I can feel the energy in the room. I love it. Yeah. A little buzz in here.
College football being on this weekend, I was watching it, and it dawned on me just how different the college game, special teams wise, is to pro. You look at the kickoff, the extra point, everything is just so different. I'm just curious, when you're scouting guys, and I don't know how much of that you do in the draft process, looking at special teams specifically, but just how much harder is it because those two games are so different and they're not doing the same things?
Yeah, no, it is a good question. The punt's totally different. Like, I mean, darn near everything, which is weird. I would say from an evaluation standpoint, not as hard. I mean, you're still looking for guys who, in coverage, can they find the ball? Can they get off a block? Do they see the field well? Do they kind of know space and speed and all that type of stuff? In terms of the return game, returner, catch ball, make guys miss, so all that stuff, you know, kind of the attributes or traits you're looking for still shows up. I think the harder part is like when they get here, teaching them how to play this new game, you know, and it's like, so that to me is more of a challenge than evaluating the talent. Is more of like, okay, now we got to get this guy to learn all the rules of these plays, learn all the nuances that go along with it, and they used to kind of be taught that before they got to us, and now not so much.
You know, college game, high school game, even it trickles up, you know, some of those concepts. You ever see like that rugby style punt coming to the
NFL? It's funny you guys say that. Yeah, so I don't know. Back when I was in college, which now, as you guys well know, is a long time ago. I'm proud of that. The gray hair, I'm good. I mean, I feel good with everything. We used to rugby punt. This is way back in the day. I think we were like the only team that was doing it. We'd roll out to the right. We had a punter who could punt with his left foot. We'd roll out to the left. He'd hit it with his left. So it's been around forever. They obviously do more of it. A lot of their players are coming from overseas, Australia and all that, where that's kind of traditionally how they punt the ball. When I had Cam Johnson, we punted him a lot that way because he was just better at punting the ball that way in the beginning, and then kind of over time we like started to develop him into a little bit more of a traditional punter. But I think at the end of the day, you're just playing to what they do best.
Obviously, we saw what Isaac Teslaus did on offense, but Dan Campbell said over and over that he could make some contributions on special teams. What stood out to him on special teams, and how could he be used?
He's a good body type. He's got some size and some length. He's got some speed, so that's huge. I mean, for us on special teams, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. If a guy can just flat run and a guy just can't run, it's hard for the guy who can't run to match the guy who can run, and he can run. So it gives him a chance to play some of these positions on the outside, gunner, hold-up guy, and some of that stuff. And then I would say competitive spirit. Like, he's not afraid of contact. He likes using his hands. He likes being physical. We saw that with the block there during training camp, is, you know, blocking on offense. So definitely a guy that obviously we'd like to get involved.
You spent 6 weeks kind of getting familiar with the guys you had and what they do well. That doesn't happen, and Brad gives you 3 new guys that all have some, you know, special teams resumes that are versatile. So how much has this week been kind of a crash course on those guys and figuring out how you can fit them into what you do?
Yeah, I think the best thing for me with those guys is it would be much more difficult if those guys were rookie players that came in from somewhere else and didn't have as much film. But I always feel like if a guy's got film of himself playing in this league on special teams in those positions, I mean, you can learn everything you need to know from how they played in the past. And you may ask him to do something different, but you can see what he does well, what he doesn't do as well. And then you get him in the building, you got a chance to talk to him and ask him, you know, hey, how do you feel best playing? What positions do you feel best playing? Not that you can necessarily play them there, but and see if that kind of agrees with the film and that you were watching, kind of the opinions you have. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get those guys. Obviously, they fill a void that we kind of had there for us, and they're both good players, I think, and they should both be able to help us out.
Last time we talked to you, you expected there to be quite a few more kickoff returns. I'm just curious, Dan and I were talking about this earlier, what's the biggest difference between, why is that 5 yards so different from the 35 to the 30? Why do you guys expect that to make such a huge difference?
Yeah, I don't know a good way to put 5 yards in perspective, but I mean, ultimately in this game, you're fighting for every inch. And I think a year ago, you were looking at like a half a yard difference. Well, half a yard, covering a kick for a half a yard, that's kind of, it's hard to make a case for that. With the potential of popping, there's going to be a big one, and that's still out there. It's an explosive play. I mean, the bottom line with the play is, we were just talking to the players about it. With the play, on kickoff coverage, if you're not using the kicker in coverage, then you're minus one guy on coverage. Well, on defense, you're actually plus one guy. And if they use the quarterback, then you're even. You got a guy for every guy. But on this play, the kickoff team is short a man because they got the returner and another blocker back there deep, plus 9 guys up front. So they got 10 on your 10 and a ball carrier, not counting your kicker. So the play is inherently difficult for the kickoff team, which teams have done a great job of covering the field, but there's still that volatile component of you're a man short, and if they can find that spot where you're a man short, the ball's going to go for a little while. So ultimately, 5 yards though, and the risk or trying to minimize those big plays for 5 yards. 5 yards every kickoff. You add it up, you kick off 5 times. I'm not sure what 5 times 5 is, but whatever that is, it's starting to add up on you. 25 yards, 30 yards, 40, and in the course of a game, it's huge. And then I think the other thing is, if you said nowadays with these kickers, we're giving you the ball at the 35-yard line, well, your first down doesn't go for 10 yards. It goes for 12, 13, 14 yards. I mean, you're getting first down and a half. You're almost in field goal range now, which is what the league knows when they made the whole rule. I mean, they're trying to get more points on the board. They're pushing the drive start out, in essence, another 5 yards or 2.5 plus yards on the drive start. And the drive start probably looking at the 33-yard line by the end of the season, 32.5, something like that. And now it's like, man, you're getting points on the board. It's going to change the game. It'll change the way punters play. Punters are going to be playing midfield a lot. It eliminates a lot of the punt return game when they're punting towards midfield. So there's a lot to it.
You're trying to reduce the chaos of that play, but do you think there's going to be a lot of chaos in kickoffs, whether that's big plays or turnovers, just because there's still acclimation, I guess, across the league?
Yeah, I think teams have gotten a pretty good handle on it, but there's going to be explosive plays for sure. And what's going to happen is, teams aren't going to just kick the ball into the back of the end zone and give them the ball at the 35. And because of that, over the course of the season, there's just going to be a lot more volume of plays. Anytime you have more numbers, there's going to be more big returns. So throughout the course of the year, there's going to be some big returns. And then inevitably, some of those are going to come up in critical situations, in critical games. And then it's going to make a major impact, which I love. That's what really we want. We want to be a part of the game. And I also love it. I think I hit on this one of the times I talked to you, but it's going to force teams to start saying, hey, man, we need to put a lot of resources into this area of the game, and we can't just push it off to the side and say, just get through these downs. It's going to be a factor. Who's returning the ball and who's covering the kicks? Is it just backup players? Are you putting starters out there? Do you have starters return the ball? I think all those conversations. By the end of this season, there's going to be a lot of teams having a lot of those.
Just to follow up on that, how do you looks like you're pretty set with, say, your return man, right, Khalif or Grant, and one of those running backs. But under what circumstances would you use starters in those spots?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a conversation people have to have. I'm not going to get into all that for us necessarily, but I mean, I think you definitely got to consider it. I mean, it's going to be impactful plays, and even if it's not every time, is it in big moments? Is it, I think we'll find out.
And now that Lovett's made the team, we saw the competition with him and Jackson Meeks. Now that you have Lovett, what do you like about what his impact can be on the unit?
Yeah, so Lovett's the same type of thing. I mean, he's got speed. He was a gunner at Georgia all last year, really. His last year in college. Played well for them as a gunner. Anyway, he's got speed. He can run. He can find the ball in coverage, make tackles. He's a little bit smaller body type, a little bit different than Tesla. Tesla a little bit bigger, a little more physical, so maybe he plays more perimeter positions, not quite as far inside. In the return game, hold-up game, he's got return value as a punt returner and a kick returner, obviously. So he brings a lot to the table. It'll end up being kind of like it comes down to every year is here's the 48 guys you get to work with on game day, and then how can you make the best group out of those 48, managing their volume on offense and defense and making sure you're not wearing anyone out.
Really quick on the actual kick itself, since that's going to play a big part on the kickoffs. You mentioned at the start of training camp that was something that Jake Bates kind of had more opportunity to work on. Now that you trust him with the field goals, what sort of progress did you see throughout camp?
Yeah, definitely much better at it. And then I think part of the whole process is finding out what does he do well, what's he most comfortable doing, and then us kind of adapting our game to that too. But he's definitely much better than he was a year ago. That's for sure. I feel good about it. I would just tell you in general, like the strengths of his game are, big leg, pound it, drive the ball, not necessarily place it as much. And this is a little bit more of a place it game. So it's inherently a little more difficult for him. But all that being said, I mean, this guy's an exceptional talent, and he's worked hard at it. That's one part about all those specialists. Man, they have a tremendous amount of pride in what they do and their craft and work very, very hard at being great at it. And so he's done that. I know he'll continue to improve throughout the year. And I would say that for him in general, there'll be ups and downs on the thing. And this whole season for our whole special teams unit team is going to be about just moving forward, man, just growing, just get a little bit better each week. So like I told some of the guys this morning, don't focus on the outcome or the result. Just focus on the execution, on doing your job, the technique of that, the execution of it, how you do it with the mindset, the mentality, the energy. And if you focus on that, the results will come. But then you also have something to build on for the next week and the week after. If you just stay focused on results and big picture stuff, it ends up being difficult for you.